heroine. Like Romeo and Juliet. Look at it. The whole story is revolving around Juliet, and Romeo's family and Juliet's family are in conflict. And they're in love. And there, what the villain is trying to do? Trying to separate the hero from the hero. So Krishna's pastimes are like drama. Actually, the original drama is Krishna's pastimes. These dramas are only a perverted reflection. All this drama that goes on in the material nature is only a perverted reflection, because the material nature is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. Krishna's activities are reflected here, and we try to play the role of Krishna. That is the material nature. We want, Krishna means we want to become the center of everything. Whereas the natural center of everything is Krishna. And that is, when we become situated in that understanding, then it is spiritual, irrespective of where we are. We may be here, but if we accept Krishna as the center of everything, then we are in the spiritual world. Spiritual world in that respect is not a geographical consideration. Spiritual world actually is a consideration of consciousness. It's not a geographical consideration, it's a consideration of consciousness. It's actually a journey, inward journey. An inward journey. External is material, internal is spiritual. But here the internal doesn't mean selfish intention, but internalization is who is there at the deepest core of our hearts. Who is there? Who is situated at the deepest core of our hearts? Krishna. So when you go internally, then ultimately we find Krishna. And again, that internalization needs a guru, a guide. Otherwise, we will end up becoming extremely selfish. That's what happens with most of the yogis who are not properly directed, properly guided by a bona fide spiritual master. They just end up becoming very, very selfish. But what does a bona fide spiritual master instruct when, even for a yogi, when one is internalizing himself, yoginam api sarvesham madgatena. So ultimately, the purpose of yoga or meditation is actually Krishna at the deepest core of your heart. Yoga is the process of internalizing. The senses are dhayate vishayan pumsha. The senses are constantly running towards the objects of the senses. And as a result of that, shangasteshu bhajati, one is developing, one develops attachment. And it goes on, sangat, sangyayati, kama, etc. But yoga is to reverse that process. Withdraw. Yoga, chitta vritti nirodha. Chitta vritti, the propensity of the mind, is stopped. What is the propensity of the mind? As I said, dhayate vishaya pumsha, to run towards the objects of the senses. But the yoga is internalizing. And this internalization ultimately goes to Krishna, who is situated as the super soul. That is the perfection of yoga. Anyway, devotional exchange, spiritual exchange with Krishna, therefore, is beyond yoga. Through the process of yoga, you see the Lord in the heart. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apoham Vedaishcha sarvair ahameva vedya Vedanta marit veda vivacha. He is situated in the heart of everyone. Now, by the process of internalizing, when we see him, and this is a very interesting point to consider also, through the process of yoga or internalization, when we come to the deepest core of our heart, who do we see there? We see the Lord. Param Atma, Supreme Soul. And who are we? What is our identity? Jiva Atma, minute soul. So when a minute comes across the Supreme, when an insignificant individual comes across the greatest personality, what is his natural tendency at that time? When an insignificant person comes across as a great person, then what happens? His head automatically bends down in respect. Surrender, prapatti. That yoga leads to prapatti, or surrender, or sharanagati. Same, meaning the same. Prapatti and sharanagati, surrender. It is a natural reaction. When you recognize the greatness of somebody, we are in shraddha, in respect, in reverence, our head bends down. The bending down of head means what? The bending down of head means surrender. And this process of bending down is called pranati. Nati means bending down. Pranati means prakrishta rupena nati. When it is done with a heartfelt intention and feelings, that is the meaning of the obeisances. Now when you surrender, you see, the perfection of yoga is to perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the heart. And the natural consequence of that is surrender. The ultimate perfection of yoga is in surrender to Krishna. And the interesting consideration here is that surrender is the beginning of devotion. Therefore, where yoga ends, devotion begins. See, it's a very scientific process. It's not some concocted ideas or some mechanical practices. Everything is very systematically designed, gradually, to take us from one level to another. So ultimately, when we surrender to Krishna, then devotion begins. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kori Shapar Shad Shio Dham Shapo Abotori Ottanto Durlabho Prem Koribare Dan Shikhai Sharanagati. That is, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in order to bestow his mercy upon the living entities, have descended, have come with his associates, his abode and his entourage, in order to teach the living entities the process of surrender. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came simply to teach us the process of surrender. Shikhai Sharanagati. Shikhai means teaches. Sharanagati, the process of surrender. And Bhakotero Pran. Now this is the important expression. Pran means life. And Bhakati means devotion. What is the life and soul of devotion? Surrender. The process of devotion is entirely based on surrender. Shikhaya Sharanagati. And when you surrender, then what happens? Then Krishna reciprocates. We surrender, Krishna reciprocates. And what is the initial reciprocation? Let's go back to Krishna's assurance in Bhagavad Gita. What is the? Krishna says, again in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna is saying the same thing. Ma mekam sharanam braja. This sharanam, do you see the link? Sharanam, sharanagati. I mean, even the English word came from there. Surrender, do you see the link? Surrender and sharanagati. Surrender and sharan. Saran there. I mean, when you go to the depth of it, we see that most of these words, English words, are actually coming from Sanskrit. There is, the European languages have different origins, according to them, according to their consideration. Their one origin is Indo-Germanic. See the link? They are accepting that the German link is from India, Indo-Germanic. Another is Latin. But when you go into that, then we see that the Latin also has its root in Sanskrit. Although they are thinking that these are two different roots, Germanic root, Latin root, and of course Slavic is another one, that is separate. That doesn't have much link with the thing, but at the same time we see Slavic also has a close link with German. Anyway, my point here is that if we go to the depth of it, we will find that all the languages are actually coming from Sanskrit. So, like we can see, like mankind, how did the man come? The man, human beings, came from Manu. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a very clear description. From Brahma's right hand side appeared Manu, and from his left hand side appeared Shatarupa. The first man and woman. The first couple. And from Manu and Shatarupa, the human beings came. From Manu, actually the word is coming from Manu. Manu's offspring, Manavas. Just as Danu's offspring, Danavas. Now Manavas are man in English. In German it's Man. Manushya in Sanskrit, Manava, Manushya. And so forth, you can see, and like origin is actually. It's a very interesting expression also, like in German language we find the link is very, very clear. For example, the breathing process in German is called Atmen. Einatmen and Ausatmen. To inhale and exhale. Now Atmen, do you see the link? So close link with Atma. To keep the Atma in the body, this process is necessary. To breathing. The process of keeping the soul in the body. So, So the goal of life ultimately is to develop that loving relationship with Krishna. And Krishna responds. When we love, He responds. And that's why, again, we are coming into that. That there is, you see, in formality, the love is missing. It is kind of the rituals become predominant. Vaidhi Bhakti is too much ritualistic. They get, ultimately when they achieve their perfection, they are elevated to the spiritual sky. They can reside with the Lord, but they get stuck up with all these rituals. But Vrindavan is the region of love. All they care for is just love. Therefore the Lord also reciprocates with love. Like Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Je jatha mam prapaddante, tans tathaiva bhajamaham. The way one approaches me, the way one surrenders unto me, accordingly I reciprocate. Tans tathaiva bhajamaham. I reciprocate accordingly. Of course, this cannot be done whimsically. It is ultimately it's a matter of love. That love means a natural attraction. That's the difference between love and business. If we think if I do this, then I'll get that. Or if I offer this, then I'll get that in return. That is not love. That's business. Business transaction. I'll give you $5 and you give me 50. Some people approach the Supreme Personality of God with that intention. So I offered 5 rupees, but what is the ultimate intention? Like, I mean, it's a very common practice in India. Like, why people go to Tirupati? It's a sheer business transaction. And yes, they get what they want. Because Krishna is saying, Je jatha mam prapaddante. As you approach Krishna, Krishna will reciprocate. You approach Krishna for some money, Krishna will give you some money. But should the money be the ultimate goal of life? The ultimate goal of life should be developing our loving relationship with Krishna. Ultimate goal of life should be to have that love that we have in our hearts to be offered to Him. And when we do that, then our life becomes successful. Our existence becomes successful. So, anyway, yesterday we discussed in detail about these points. So, yesterday we discussed up to Krishna, Brahma stealing the cows, Krishna killing the Aghasura, and then that led to Brahma stealing the calves and cowherd. And then ultimately Brahma felt very, very embarrassed. Now in this respect I can also inform one thing, maybe many of you know about that. You know, when Brahma begged forgiveness and offered beautiful prayers to Krishna. And Krishna told Brahma, don't worry, everything is alright. But still Brahma felt very, very embarrassed, felt very guilty. Then, although Krishna assured him, don't worry Brahma, everything is alright, but still Brahma went to perform austerity, just to purify his consciousness. And you know where Brahma went to? Brahma went to Navadvip. Navadvip is 9 islands. And the central island is known as Antardvip. And around that there are 8 islands surrounding that Antardvip. So Brahma performed severe austerities in Antiti. And as a result of Brahma's austerity, the Lord appeared to him. Brahma saw the Lord was standing in front of him with a smiling face, most beautiful personality. And he assured Brahma, Brahma, don't worry, everything is all right. There is no need to perform austerity to express your feeling of guilt. So then Brahma asked, this form I never seen before. Because this form was golden in complexion. He said that I always saw you in his dark bluish complexion. But this complexion, this color, this complexion of yours I have never seen. And this appears to be so much more attractive than your bluish Samshuddha form. Then Brahma told him, Krishna then told him that yes, in this I appear with this form in the age of Kali. In Dwapar Yuga, Brahma actually made a mistake, failing to recognize Krishna. So Brahma told him that I appear in this form in the age of Kali. So Brahma then told him that, will you please allow me to take part in your pastime when you come again in Kali? Then Krishna said, yes, sure. Then Brahma said, I have one request. When I come as Brahma,